All right, we are live. Welcome to Monday Mindset. Hard to believe, as always, it's another Monday has come and gone. And as I was thinking about what I want to share today, yesterday was Father's Day. I'm a father myself, but I have a father like all of you do. And I want to share, I know on Mother's Day, I shared with you some things that I learned and my mom had given me that I got a lot of great feedback on. And I want to share today with you three things. My father has taught me many things, but three things that I caught from my father that have been instrumental in shaping me not only into the person and leader I am, but the business leader that I am today that I think will help you. My father raised 8 kids. We'll talk about that a little bit. And all of us are not crazy, I don't think. Well, maybe we're a little crazy, but not too crazy. He did a fantastic job. So we're going to talk about those three things today. But first, I will see you on the other side of this intro.
There are no bad businesses. There are just those people who don't know enough to see the opportunities in the work they're in. If there seems to be no future or opportunity in it, it isn't always because it's not there, but perhaps only because we can't see it.
Good morning. Welcome to another Monday Mindset. Great to see everybody today. Hope you're ready to crush this week. Hope you had an amazing Father's Day yesterday. Happy Father's Day and belated Father's Day to all my fathers out there. I want to read for you guys a Mark Twain quote that I put. We have a 5 a.m. club that we do every single day. I get up and I usually am on a call at 5 a.m. with people from my work. Just people that keep me accountable, that we try to inspire each other to go work out, to do the things that we need to do in the morning. As they say, win the morning, win the day. So I want to share with you a Mark Twain quote. Mark Twain said this: stay away from those people who try to disparage your ambitions. Small minds will always do that, but great minds will give you a feeling that you can become great too. That is our quote today at 5 a.m. on our 5 a.m. club. Today, I want to share with you 3 pieces of advice I learned from an amazing mind, the mind of my father. So my father, he's been a pastor for most of his career, really, I guess, the last 33 years at a church in a place called Savannah County, Virginia. So I grew up a pastor's kid. Yesterday was Father's Day. Back on Mother's Day, I shared with you a couple pieces of advice that my mother had given me that really shaped me into the person I am. I got a lot of great feedback on it. My parents I view them as extremely successful. Yes, they might not be super financially successful or run a great business or something like that, but they have a success that is way beyond that. Their relationship, they had 8 kids. All of us turned out amazing. We all have great relationships. And so I feel like they have so much wisdom that they can share in how you lead people, because my dad has been a pastor. He's been leading people for a long time. And I want to share with you 3 pieces of advice that he didn't just teach. I think, he taught me these things, but things that I caught from him. Like it was Ed Milet that says, most of the things that your kids learn from you, most of the things that your people on your team will take away from you are things that they catch, things that they watch you do, things that they see how you live your life, how you respond in situations, how you take action, and they'll catch that. And from that, they will then shape, or it will shape who they are. So these 3 pieces of advice I wrote down. Before I get into them, though, How is your year going? It's literally June 19th right now. It's crazy how fast the year is going by. I cannot believe it. I was thinking about my company. For those who don't know, I run a company called Reminder Media. I have about 300 team members all across the country. We're so blessed. This year, we'll probably service about 70,000 small business owners. And I think about what we're doing each and every day. One, shout out to any clients that are on this. I know we have clients that watch these lives. Really appreciate you guys giving us the opportunity to be able to work with you and you to allow us to live out our dream. But I was thinking about where we're at, and we're not quite where we want to be. So every year, obviously, we have big targets. We want to grow the company, and we're not quite trending where we want to trend. And, the hard thing about not trending in the way you want, not hitting your goals, is it means you have to change. That is one of the difficult things about life, is you can't stay the same. Why? Because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. So if you're not where you want to be, you're 6 months in the year now, take it from somebody who has been leading a business that, hey, I'm 6 months in. I have good numbers at this point. I've tried different strategies for a good period of time, and I'm seeing the results of those strategies. And some of those strategies are not working. Some of the decisions that I made, that our team made, were the wrong decisions. And that happens in business. The key is you don't get emotional about it. You don't feel bad about it. You don't waste any energy dramatizing it. That is our tendency, is we have a tendency in business to apply dramatization, exaggerate, make things bigger than they are, because misery loves company. Did you ever wonder, why these sayings exist? Is because there's truth in these types of sayings, right? So you don't spend any emotional energy on beating yourself up. You realize, hey, it's not working. Let me look at the logic. Let me look at the data. Let me look at what the numbers are saying. And then let me balance the numbers, because it's both a science and an art. Let me balance the science also with my gut intuition and my experience and where I feel we're going and where my great-minded team feels we're going. And let's make some changes. But here's what most people do. A lot of times the changes require you to move people. If you're a solopreneur, it means move yourself. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. So you got to give consequences to yourself. The other is, if you're leading a team, it requires you to move team members. And this is where it gets really difficult for people. They don't want to apply the accountability. Most people set the expectation. They never verify. Then those who actually set the expectation and verify, they never come through and actually apply the change, the consequence. Even when I say consequence, people might feel like, ooh, consequence. You have to apply the consequence. That's how growth happens. And that really is one of the things that my father taught me. I was going on a walk yesterday with my little girl, Evie, my wife, Megan, and our son, William. So Evie is about 2.5 years old. So I guess the terrible twos are a thing for a reason. But she is an amazing kid, but she has a strong will. And we're walking on the sidewalk, and she kind of runs a little bit towards the road. Now, we're in this little subdivision, so there's no cars or anything. But she starts going towards the road, and we tell her, hey, don't do that. You need to walk beside mom and dad. And if you do that, we're going to have to turn around and go home. Well, not but 5 minutes later or less, guess what she does? She takes off right into the road, our little subdivision road. And immediately, I have a decision to make as a parent. I have a decision. Do I have a belief, and this is what my dad taught me, in first-time obedience? Do I have a belief that, hey, there are consequences that happen? Or am I going to create an excuse, a reason, justify the situation, and move forward? So we immediately said, hey, no, we have to go back. She was very sad that we weren't going on the walk anymore. But it's trying to teach her the same thing that my dad taught me, that, hey, look, this first-time obedience is so important. Apply that to your goals, right? That's parenthood, because my dad obviously was my father. Apply that to your business. Apply that to your goals. When you set a goal, when you set expectations for a team member to do something, when they don't do it, what are you doing for accountability? Now, I want you to hear me correctly here. This is not about just disciplining people for the sake of discipline. Discipline, true discipline, is out of love for somebody. True consequences out of love for somebody. You want to teach them how to actually get better. A great leader doesn't just bring in the rod, right? They bring in the stick and they reward when things are doing great. And they also practice servant leadership, which means they get in with their people. And you know how they say the captain goes down with the ship? first and foremost, the discipline and the consequence should be on you as the business leader. And then you go down and you get in with your people. But most people never hold their team accountable. Most leaders that I interact with, I go, man, when I go and I look at the business, I go, it's so obvious what is happening here. What's happening here is we are creating excuses for our lack of performance. And the only way to fix a problem is to admit you have a problem. So if you are not getting the results you want, which there is an area in your life where you're not right now. So there's nobody's life is 100% perfect. There's an area in your business that you are not getting the results you want. You must hold yourself and your team accountable to first-time obedience. If we do not hit what we said we were going to hit, then we must move. We must have consequences that cause us to change. You want to beat yourself up, not into paralysis, beat yourself up enough to change. So that's the first thing my dad taught me, was this idea of first-time obedience, and it was really powerful because hopefully with my kids, knock on wood, they're young now, so you have to judge me here in 18 years, but hopefully I will be able to apply the same thing to my kids, and it's true love to actually apply this to your kids, because you're teaching them how there are consequences for their decisions. And that really leads me to the second thing my dad taught me. So one of the things that my dad used to say to us when we were kids, right before we get out of the car and go into a store like Walmart, and obviously think about this, there's 8 kids in a van, like a 15-passenger van, right? And he taught us, hey, before we went into the store, he would always say this saying that I just want to remind you, you represent God, you represent the church, and you represent me and your family. And this was really powerful because my dad, I didn't realize it at the time. I don't even know if he would say it this way. He was teaching me emotional intelligence. He was teaching me EQ. He was teaching me that, yeah, you can have IQ all day, but you need to have EQ, which means what? Your actions represent something. What you do represents something. Not only does it represent something, your actions have consequences and make people feel a certain way. And this is so powerful for people to understand. The more I am in business, the more I realize, man, I'll take EQ, high EQ people over IQ people all day long, because EQ people know how their actions affect others. And you can't build a great team if people aren't aware of what they're doing and how it affects the team around them. Not only the team that it actually helps them get the job done, but the clients, everybody that you're serving. My dad was teaching me before we got out of the car, he's teaching our whole family, hey, you represent in your actions, how you walk through the store, what you look at, what you touch, what you say, all the things you do represent God, the church, and me, your family. So be aware of that in what you do. Do you know my parents, with 8 kids, they really never had any rules for us in high school or when we were in our teenage years. It's kind of crazy. You would think my mom would have been a high stress person or my dad would have been a high stress person. And they really didn't have many rules for us. They really led through a foundation of a belief system that, hey, this is what we believe to be true. This is where we want you to be. And if you know what's right and wrong in our eyes, you know what would represent what we want, and you have a choice to make to either honor that or dishonor that. And that is a powerful thing to teach people that, hey, your actions have consequences. Now, in business, not all the time are you going to obviously be able to do things out of this honor type mentality, but you can understand that, hey, your actions have consequences and everything you do affects other people. And your EQ is one of the most important skill sets that you can master in business. All right, the third thing that I wrote down, and maybe the most powerful, is my dad taught me the real meaning of integrity. And this is really powerful for your life and for your business. And he would teach me, and I've shared this before when it comes to work ethic, because I think work ethic is a lot like integrity. But my dad would tell me that, Luke, integrity is who you are when people aren't watching. Meaning everybody can be honest when the microscope's on them. Everybody can be a good person when they know they're going to get caught. Here's my question for all of us today. Will you do the right thing when you know that you won't get caught, that no one will ever find out, and it's easier to cut the corner? Will you still do the right thing in that moment? That's true integrity. Doing the right thing because it's the right thing. Now, there's, I would say, 3 types of integrity to have. One is you have integrity with your peers, that you do what you say you're going to do, that they see you as a person of integrity. They see you as a person of your word. Second is you have integrity with yourself, that you actually tell yourself the truth, that you see yourself as a person of integrity. If you told yourself you were going to wake up today and go to the gym and you were committed to that and you didn't do it, you lack integrity with yourself. And here's the thing about that. When you lack integrity internally, it displays itself externally. If you want to be good in your business, you have to have confidence. When you don't have integrity with yourself, whether it's because of the things you told yourself you were going to do that you did not do, or it's you have a product that you don't truly believe in, or you're doing something that you don't truly believe in, you will never be as successful as you should be. You have so much more potential there, because people who function out of true integrity, they function from a confidence level that, hey, what I'm doing is the right thing. Now, don't hear me wrong. It doesn't mean you know everything. You're still going to have doubts in your mind of, am I making the right decision? Am I not making the right decision? But you don't have an integrity issue. You're doing the thing that you believe in, and you're following through on what you said. So there's integrity with yourself, and then there's integrity with your creator. There's integrity with actually what you're living for and your purpose in life. And are you actually going for that integrity? My dad taught me the power of integrity. Now let's apply this to business, right? Brands come and go, right? Companies come and go. I've owned multiple companies at this point. Companies come and go. Your name will last forever. As long as you're here on this earth, your name, and probably a little time after, your name will last. The name, the brand, the integrity of Luke Acree will last. Reminder Media might come and go. My other companies might come and go. Your company might come and go. But your name, I see we got Joe Campert on, right? And others on here. Your name, Mary Ellen, will last. Do you have a brand where your name is one of integrity, where people know, yeah, that's Luke Acree. He does what he says he's going to do. This is a guy that shows up. This is a guy that's consistent. Yes, this is a guy that's authentic. I can see his failures, and he actually owns up to them. That's a key part of integrity. Own up to your mistakes. That is the number one thing you have to do in business. When you make a mistake, own up to it. Some of the greatest entrepreneurs, multi-millionaires that I've been able to be around, the funny thing about them is they do some of the dumbest things. And I'll be like, why in the world would you do that? And I'll go talk to them and everything like that. And it rolls off their back. They go, oh yeah, you're right. Yep, let me change that. And to me, I almost was making a bigger deal of it in my mind, and going, oh man, when they see this, they're going to be so embarrassed. This is going to be so bad. And it literally, like, when it's revealed to them, they own up to it right away. And they go, oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, I shouldn't have been doing that. Man, let me make that right. And they move on. They don't make a big deal out of it. They let it roll off their back. And I just go, man, that's the type of person I want to be. So my dad really taught me that, hey, you got to be a man of your word. Your word follows you wherever you go. Your name will follow you wherever you go. You got to be a person of integrity. And I'm challenging all of you today on this Monday mindset as I wrap up, that, hey, as you set out this week, challenge yourself today to go, okay, how am I leading my team? How am I leading myself? Do I have this concept that I just explained of first-time obedience, where you're actually getting people to deliver on what they say and you're applying consequences to what happens? Do you also know that, every action you take actually affects other people? Are you aware, and are you teaching EQ? And then third, are you a person of integrity? Are you a business of integrity? Because we have to be, in order to not only build successful businesses, but to live a successful life. People who are out of integrity with themselves, they do not live a good life because they're constantly questioning, they're constantly floating. Hey, it's Monday. It's time to crush it for our clients, for our families, for us. Let's get out there and let's make it happen this week. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for joining, and I will see you next week. Let's make it happen.